old white man sport, right? That was tragic. That was tragic. That was tragic. It was embarrassing. It was tragic. We're coming to the game the way that we are, not the way that the game wants us. So, and that's a lot of people are just coming into the game, and I want you all to come to the game the way that you are.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cook, and on today's episode, we've got an awesome guest that brings a perspective that really hits different. He's a professional golfer with over 20 professional wins, a former collegiate standout at Georgetown College, a coach, a speaker, and now an author of the upcoming novel Tour Line, which is right over here, Play Through the Pressure, a raw, high-stakes story about ambition, adversity, and the roads we take to chase the game we love. Welcome to the show, Christian Heavens. Is it Heavens or Heavens?
No, Heavens.
Okay.
It goes together.
I was like, man, let me make sure that I've got this right.
Right.
I meant to ask you beforehand because I'm like, man, what a awesome name, first of all, to be Christian Heavens.
Yeah. That's a lot of pressure. That's definitely a lot of pressure there. She put my mom, that shows the background, right? My mom, she raised me in the church. I grew up in the church. With those principles, and yeah, she put the pressure on me from before birth.
That's for sure. When you get a name like that, I mean, it can go in many different directions,
right.
But it is a strong name, as we like to say in media. Now, the journey into golf, let's start here because I love talking to anybody that has played at a professional level and really find out kind of how you got into the game of golf, because I do find a lot of these stories kind of intermingle between different people, even with my own story. And so let's go all the way back to the beginning. How did you end up getting into the game of golf?
Man, back to the beginning. I mean, that's the beginning, right? Since I started, my grandfather got me introduced to the game at the age of my first Christmas. He gave me a set of golf clubs, so I was 6 months old. And like the area I'm from, East St. Louis area, a lot of that's I depicted. We'll get to it in the book. Where the main character is from. It's a rough area. It's an area where you would not expect to see a golfer. We had a lot of great athletes, right? Basketball, football. That was the main sport.
Sure.
My uncle was a really good football player. He played at Notre Dame, was an All-American, won championships with Notre Dame, or one championship with Notre Dame. My other uncle was a really good basketball player. My grandfather loved golf and couldn't get them into the game. Like they had the stereotype, right? It's a soft sport. It's weak, old white man sport, right? And they just nobody would like to play the game. But my grandfather, he got into the game early. Like he was one of those old caddies from down south that just, caddied on the course, snuck on the course to play golf, borrowed other like members clubs while they were going to play golf. And he just really had that love for the game. And when he finally got a hold of someone that, that shared that passion for the game or could share the passion for the game with him, he just loved it. So he would take me out to the golf course. They helped raise me a lot with my mom.
Sure.
They helped her out a lot. So they always took me to this golf course. Whenever my mom was at work, they'll pick me up from school. My grandfather would take me out to Grand Maria golf course out there, and him and his buddies were playing, all types of games on Tuesdays and Thursdays, like skins games, games I haven't heard of, like rabbit, squirrel, just a whole bunch of weird stuff that they would just make up and gamble. But that was it, man. Just from an early age, those are the fondest and the most cherished memories I have of playing golf. Just out there with my grandfather and his buddies that, they had all these weird names where it's like Teddy, Scobie, all these type names. And they just were real characters. And they just had a blast talking trash, playing golf. And that was my introduction. It wasn't that quite. I was right before the Tiger Woods era. So that was like early 90s. And then Tiger came in 97. So I was definitely heavily influenced by Tiger Woods. Sure. But my introduction to the game and my DNA in the game came from my grandfather and those old guys who used to be caddies playing in the game and hustling and gambling on the golf course. So that was it. It really, my family, my grandfather got me into it. It was a big influence in my life.
What age did you start?
So yeah, like I said, I don't remember not being able to swing a golf club.
Okay.
Like there's videos of home VHSs where I'm swinging a comb like this big and and I'm swinging it like a golf club, nice. Right? Picking up a folded up newspaper, rolled up newspaper article, and I'm swinging it like a golf club. So I've just always had a golf club in my hand. And I realized like how fortunate I was to be in that situation, right? Because access is very tough for people to get in the game of golf. And I was fortunate enough to just have somebody there that really loved the game of golf and was a good player too. My grandfather was a really good player. So it was fun to watch those guys.
It's funny as you talk about the trash talk and everything like that, because for so long, golf did not want to be known for that at all. Right. And I feel like more recently, now that's starting to come out a bit more. And that was kind of one of the purposes of creating this show in the first place. And why it was called Pull Hook was because it, like, that's a bad shot, right? So it's like, okay, let's talk about some of the like more realistic, authentic things in the game of golf that really happen where it's not really talked about, because as you kind of mentioned, you know, it's kind of known as the white man sport, the gentleman's game, right? And we still hear that to this day, but we know better now, and especially being around pros and so forth, it's like, yeah, you're gonna get some of that out there.
Yeah. And again, we'll talk about it more right when we get into the book, but I don't know if exposed is the right word, but I brought that out in the book a lot. Those different characters, those different personalities, where, like I said, growing up with my grandfather and those guys, they had like 3 or 4 groups of guys, and there was so many different personalities in there. That's what we need in golf. So we started missing that at some point, where, you know, a lot of golfers just feel like it's a lot of money involved in the game of golf, right? Professionally. So I understand them being honed in, focused, just in their own game and worried about themselves. But we miss the old Chi Rodriguez's, right? Those guys, 100. Right? Those entertainers in the game. And I think that's why YouTube golf is becoming so popular now, right? The Internet Invitational was really big, not for its golf, but because of the access and the personalities and the things outside of golf that really showed how people genuinely are, right?
I totally agree.
So I think that was, I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch much of it, but I really think that's a part of the game that we may see it come back to the forefront.
We hope.
We hope. Yeah, we hope for sure.
I mean, it's funny because Liv took a lot of those personalities away from the game. And, well, I shouldn't say away from the game. They moved into their own entity, where the PGA Tour was a little bit more, you know, conservative in some of those ways. So it'd be interesting to see how this all pans out, because there's definitely a want by the audience because of YouTube golf and so forth, that there was something missing in the game, and it kind of has exposed that, which you're absolutely right with the Internet Invitational, and seeing just how much viewership there is around something like that, because they buy into the personalities that are there,
and they crushed it. You know, like even now I talk about it, there's been 2 main things that really migrated people towards the game of golf, right? One was Tiger. There's some things before that, like Arnold Palmer and stuff too, but Tiger brought a lot of people into the game of golf, and then COVID. Yeah. And now we see this big push in the growth of the game of golf, right? And it's just a lot of different people, just bringing a lot of people to the game of golf from different backgrounds, but we all share this passion of loving golf. But I think it's cool to show that, you know, there's a place for you in this sport. There's a place for this personality in this sport. You don't have to be the quiet gentleman type, right? You can play music while you're on the golf course. You can talk trash with your buddy while you're on the golf course, and we can all enjoy it.
I've always looked at golf as a mirror of life, right? Because there's so many different personalities. There's so many different ways to do it. You're literally trying to take a ball and put it into a hole in as many, or in as few. Yeah. for a lot of people, it's many, but for anybody playing, they're trying to get it in there as few as possible. And it's just very much so you learn a lot about people when you're out on the golf course, and it should be that reflection, right? So I think I hear that a lot in what you're saying, and I resonate with that a lot, because that is something that I have wholeheartedly believed in, that bring out the authenticity in people, because some of these guys that are in front of the camera, when it comes to professional golf especially, they're different behind the scenes. And it's like, let's bring out that authenticity. And I think, again, it's kind of been exposed by the YouTube golf world. But I want to get back to you and your story, because when did you realize that you were good at the game of golf, and maybe this is a way out for you versus potentially going down other paths?
Yeah, I always knew that I always had a feeling, right, that I was good at golf and going to play golf for a long time. I think once I started winning, that was a different thing. That was like, started just winning junior golf tournaments, right? Sure. And what it took for me to win, like at every level, I always tell people, I always struggle at the initial stage. I think what helped me get to where I am today is that I just never quit. And I handle losses better than most. So like when I first started losing and playing in tournaments, I was middle of the pack. I was never the worst guy out there, but I wasn't like that guy. And I took the losses and took the lumps, and I found out, okay, I need to get better here. I got better, started winning. High school golf, I didn't make the varsity team my freshman year. Played well in JV. Next year, I made varsity. Started off number one and started learning. Like I started winning. Nothing crazy, but I was always respected. Then I just kept getting better, man. I just kept getting beat, going to the winning, then going to the next level, getting beat, taking those losses, turn them into lessons, and going to the next level. And I just figured, man, like I started seeing guys that were better than me at an early age, and I started passing them. I started seeing them like start falling out of love with the game, not really working as hard, getting complacent, and I just started passing them up or catching up to some as well, right? And I just felt like if I just kept doing what I'm doing, let's just see where this takes me. And then I played a little basketball. I didn't grow up to be 6'6", so I decided not to pursue that. But early, I just always knew, man, that would be my thing, my route, and my escape.
And we want to give a special shout out and thanks to our sponsors over at Stark Health. Folks, this is the team that's been behind my entire health and fitness transformation. Over 30 pounds and 10% of body fat later. It's been an incredible transformation, not to mention how much muscle that I've put on in addition to all of that. But I couldn't have done it without the team over at Stark Health, because it is a holistic approach with a team of naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, neuromuscular chiropractors, and personal trainers. They all have one goal in mind: to work together to get your health and fitness to the next level. So if you're serious about taking that next step in your health and fitness, reach out to stark.health. That's STARK.health for more information. Now let's get back to the show. What part clicked for you first? Was it the swing? Was it the short game? Was it putting? Was it the mindset? Like, what do you think it was that first clicked?
It was more just the feel, just learning how to play golf. Like the guys that I grew up playing with, they didn't have the technical swings. They didn't have they had the old school jerky moves and here and there. And I would watch and take different bits and pieces from those guys, but I never really knew what my golf swing was. I never really knew I never focused on certain, aspects of my golf swing. I just found a way, okay, the ball's going that way, find a way to hit it this way. I'm hitting the ball too hard, I'm chunking it chill. I just figured it out. That was pretty much my story in golf, right? Just figuring it out, right? Just practicing. My grandfather if I didn't hang out with those guys on the golf course where I just hit a shot here or there on the golf course, he'll leave me on the range and I'm just hitting shots, just trying to figure out how to hit a fade, hit a draw, just whatever. So the feel aspect and just learn how to just get around the golf course with what I had. And that's actually pretty much helped me a lot too out, as a professional. Like if you watch me play now, well, more 3 years ago or so, I had to do like pro-ams and stuff. I just have to warn them, like, look, this isn't going to be what you expect. Like, we don't stripe it all day, every day, but I will get around the golf course somewhere under par, hopefully no more than over par. But like, I'm going to figure out how to get around the course with what I got.
I was actually thinking about that today before this interview. I'm like, man, I wonder, because whenever I stop playing for a little while, I lose it. Right. Like my game goes to hell in a handbasket. The pull hook starts coming in quite a bit. I mean, we played 9 holes together and you saw it. I mean, that pull hook was there all 9 holes just about until the 9th hole. And then all of a sudden I striped one. But my God, it is something to where when you said that, I'm just like, I was literally just thinking about that. Like, have you ever like shown up to the golf course and just been like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on today?
That's it. But as golfers, we have to play tricks in our minds.
Yeah.
And I talk about this in the book too. I've psyched myself up to where if I hit the ball bad on the range, for some reason, that means I'm going to hit.
You're going to hit it good.
Yeah, I've done it. Maybe I did it once in high school, and ever since then, I try to use that. Say, all right, well, I'm gonna just hit it good on the golf course.
Yeah.
And then if I stripe it, I try to just keep that going. But we just constantly play tricks on ourselves. We're just honestly, golfers are pretty mental. We're pretty crazy.
We're pretty sick. It's a
Yeah.
sick game.
Yeah, I
and
think you
once
gotta
you get
be.
addicted, yeah, you really do. You have to almost have this level of delusion
Yeah,
and
exactly.
self-belief. Like those are the
Yeah.
two areas that you absolutely need in golf, because if you just go down a normal logistical path and all of a sudden you start playing one hole bad,
Right.
all of a sudden, if you are not delusional to where you can flip that around and go, man, I'm playing so great that
Yeah.
just, some bad breaks just happen
Yep.
and let's continue on because I'm about to shoot 18 under par. Like,
Right.
it's just one
But
of those
if
things.
you want to err on that side, because we're also delusional on the opposite side too. Like we can play 16 holes of really good golf and finish double bogey in the last 2 holes, and the whole day is screwed. Like we just played terrible. We hit the ball bad. I've shot this and that, and we just stick on those 2 bad holes versus the other 16. So, I mean, we're just delusional all the way around. But we'll rather right. It's best to be erring on delusional towards optimism.
When did you? So let's get into the competitive golf world, because you've had a lot of experience in competitive golf. And one of my first questions for you that I have is, when did you realize that you could compete, not just play, at a higher level?
When I first started to go low, low is relative, but I'll just say when I first started shooting scores, say broke 70 in a golf tournament. That's when I realized that I had the mental capacity to do it, because that's at that point it's really just mental. You have to allow yourself to play great, and be comfortable with going low. Which at that time too, I guess I'm aging myself, but it was harder to do at that age because of junior golf, the way it's set up versus now. I think what they do now, which is really great. I look at U.S. kids golf scores, and these kids are shooting like 18 under par, and like some crazy 62s and stuff, which is crazy. But they have them teed off from places where they can actually reach the green with an iron, right? They can get to par 5s and 2. When I was young, they just put us on the red tees, and we were 6 years old or whatever, and couldn't get to the par 4s and 2 and all that. So that made par that much harder and more of a mythical thing to try to attain. But when I finally started, getting to reach greens in 2 shots and get to par 5s in 2 shots, then from there, it was a mental thing that I had to learn. And that's when I really started reading too. The Bob Rotella books, like Golf's Not a Game of Perfect. And yeah, absolutely. I dove into all of his books, and that's what I had to learn. I had to really navigate it. Once I conquered that and understand what you talked about, the self-belief, the delusional part of it, kind of what pros actually mean by staying in the moment and one shot at a time. And once I figured that out, I was like, okay, I can do that. I'm comfortable with going under par, so let's keep going.
I don't know if I ever really accomplished the feeling of being super comfortable going under par, because a lot of what you just talked about too, I grew up to where when I was 13, I started playing golf, and I immediately just wanted to go and have the most difficult, challenge possible, and I would just start playing the back tees, thinking that was the best way of going about it. And so it wasn't until in my early 20s to where I started really going under par, and from there, I remember in the Butch Harmon Vegas tour, there was a tournament to where we were playing Paiute up in Vegas. And it was the Wolf course. And sure enough, I had a couple birdies early on within the first 5 holes. And then all of a sudden, I had a double eagle. And I just sat there and I looked at the scorecard and I go, oh, shoot. And that panic came in. There was a few pull hooks on the way in. And I think even as I was 5 under par early, I want to say it was through 5 holes or 6 holes, I think I shot 77.
Oh, I found a way.
Yeah, I found a way to really botch that one.
Funny.
But I do wish, if I was to go back and tell my younger self, I would say, go as close as you can and learn how to score under par and really utilize the front tees as much as possible.
So 2 things about that. So one from reading the books that I've told you about, it talks about how we just gravitate to our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right. We always found that way, whether we, like you did, start off hot early on, then you kind of get uncomfortable, and then you just find a way to get back to that comfort zone of mid 70s. Or if you start off really bad, right, and you're just done for the day. You give up, then you birdie in the last 3 holes. Like, it gets you back into that comfort zone. Like, we've all been there. But the second thing, so there's this guy. He was my big. Now he wasn't a rival because he just dominated junior golf in St. Louis.
Okay.
Scott Langley. Scott Langley won everything. Ended up going to University of Illinois. Won NCAA championships. Was low am at the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, and then he just had the yips. Like, he just couldn't. Like, he would shoot scores where he was shooting like 82s, and it was just ridiculous for like months at a time. And eventually, he got it back together and got on tour, and had a really solid career. And I talked to him, but I was like, dude, like, how did you get through this part here, like that little stretch? And he said, Doug, I went back and played from the red tees and just got used to scoring again, shooting low numbers again. Because after a while of struggling so long and shooting like high 70s, low 80s, and whatever, going back to under par and shooting low numbers was uncomfortable for him. So I would recommend that for adults too. Like, you don't get points for playing from the black tees or the tips or whatever, right? Just go up there, play by yourself sometimes if you want, and shoot, play from the red tees and just learn how to score and just get used to, shooting numbers that are lower.
I mean, that's potentially some of the best advice. I mean, we've heard it for ages with golf courses trying to get people to move up based off of your handicap and so forth. But to today, I don't enjoy playing the back tees anymore. Like, I'm to the point now where I'm like, hey, guys are like, are you okay playing up? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, let's go as close as we
Let's get
can.
up there.
Yeah. Let me go off of the senior tees. This would be great. But that being said, what was your biggest breakthrough or milestone early in the competitive journey?
I'd say that was it though, man. Like, just figuring out the mental aspect of playing golf professionally. Getting through, winning, maybe the U.S. Amateur. That was a big one for me.
Okay.
I played in the 2010 U.S. Amateur at Chambers Bay, and actually in that qualifier, Scott Langley was there. A couple other guys, really good players, man. But that was the first time where I just got to that national stage. That was a really big opportunity for me, just to see and give me confidence that I could play at a certain level. And then I got to Chambers Bay and realized I didn't know what the heck was going on with that type of golf. I was out there playing with these guys, and links golf, like, obviously I had no idea what the heck links golf was. Like, coming in St. Louis, there's not a lot of courses that were that firm and that fast. And I just, that was tough there. But just getting to that point was a big breakthrough, right? Just to give us a breakthrough to the national stage. And then soon after that, I started playing good in college, won conference MVP, played well in the National Minority Championship, All-American honors, and just really got more confidence from there.
Now a quick word from our sponsors, Devereux Golf. Folks, did you know by being a Pull Hook Golf listener that you get 20% off over at DevereuxGolf.com? Just utilize the promo code PullHookGolf20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order at DevereuxGolf.com. They are changing the game when it comes to golf style. Whether it's on the golf course, off the golf course, and everything in between. Not only that, they got some awesome hats, head covers, putter covers, and more. Folks, get over to DevereuxGolf.com, because the best part is it's affordable, and now it gets even more affordable with the promo code PullHookGolf20 at checkout. Yeah, in your path now, you weren't a country club kid, right?
No.
So
Far from it.
And I wasn't either.
Yeah.
So I came from a low to middle class family that really golf wasn't a thing. And to be like, I've never been a member at a golf course. So that's another thing. And with that, it kind of builds a mindset, at least for me, it did. And I wonder, when you went into competitions and so forth, was there ever, like, what was your mindset when all of a sudden you're like, okay, this kid, like, I used to be like, oh, that kid, he plays at this country club all the time.
Yeah.
And what did it ever affect you, or did it help you in a positive way?
I would love to tell you that it helped me in a positive way, but as a young kid, even in college, it did affect me. I looked over and I saw that this kid was used to this course, right? That this was his home course that we were playing at. Yeah, but my grandfather, I guess he saw that or kind of knew that would happen, and he worked really hard. He was a firefighter, he always he used to get in arguments with my grandmother all the time because he would buy me new golf clubs and she just would not understand it, right? And he was like, I don't want my grandbaby out there thinking he, has less than, I want him to have the same clubs that they have and all that. So he always worked, tried really hard to kind of take that and give me the best opportunities that I could have, but you can only do so much, right? I turned into like a chip on my shoulder, right? That I can play. If I can catch up to you guys are really messed up. Like I'm coming to play. I'm coming to bring my best, and I just really put that more into the hard work.
Yeah,
put that more into the work, and that I could just figure it out with what I got.
I love that. Now, when you started winning, did that change your mindset and mentality a bit?
Yeah, obviously you get more confidence, right? It's one of those things where before I had to fake the confidence before I could win. I had to tell myself, literally, I won my first tournament on the Florida Pro Golf Tour back in Orlando. I won a couple of tournaments before. They were on handicap tours, and I didn't really give myself a lot of credit for it.
Sure.
But the Florida Pro Golf Tour was really good at that time, where, it was guys from top D1 schools coming out there in Orlando to play golf. And I fought those doubts too, right? Like I came from an NAIA school, didn't really have the best golf program, did the most I could do with my career. And these guys are coming from Georgia, Florida State, all these different schools. And I didn't know if I had what it took to beat them. I had to fake it, man. I had to really write down. I started getting into law of attraction type things. Oh, yeah. I started writing down affirmations. I started telling myself, this was actually really big. I wrote down, I don't care, I'm winning, 200 times a night in the folder. I have a picture of it. I just kept writing it down. I don't care, I'm winning. And I gave myself, I came up with that mantra for exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
This kid, he went to Georgia. He was All-American. I don't care, I'm winning. This kid he has the best clubs in his bag, and he went to a nice country club. I don't care, I'm winning. Like, he has a 2-shot lead. I don't care, I'm winning. I just bogeyed the first time. I don't care. And I wrote that down every night. And then I wish I could show you the picture or find the picture. But I got in this tournament. We were at Black Bear, I think, or some course out in Florida. And even on the scorecard, I would just write it down. I was playing against Nick Lindheim, who's been on tour for a little while. And he was the best player on the tour. And I just wrote, I don't care, I'm winning after the whole, I don't care, I'm winning. I just kept writing it. And that helped me kind of get over it, right? And then once I finally won, I wasn't faking it. It gave me even more confidence to actually see it come into fruition. And from that, man, when you win a golf tournament, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, right? You're tired because it drains you because you're so focused. There's so much that's going in your mind that you have to battle. You win, you're excited, you're calling people, they're calling you, they're sending you messages on Instagram, they're liking your pictures and stuff, and you're into bed that night tired. You want to go to sleep, but your mind is just racing from all the events that happened, and you're just so excited. And then you're thinking about where you can go next after that. And, from that, it just motivates you. You get up, you barely sleep that night. You get up the next morning ready to work, and you're just ready to keep it going. My success has always kept me more motivated, for sure.
Was there any reality checks that kind of set in when you turn pro and all of a sudden you're playing in pro events? Like, was there anything that you were just like coming out of college going, hey, I'm going to dominate. I'm going to win golf tournaments. I'm going to make all this money. And all of a sudden that reality check of pro golf kind of set in. Was there any of those moments for you?
There's a lot. I mean, even my first tournament, I played on the APGA Tour in Texas, and I finished 8th. I shot like 3 under par or something like that, 2 or 4 under par, something like that. I don't know. But I cashed a check for, I remember, $333 and like 50 something cents. Crushed it, right? Getting a check. But then I realized, wait, I just paid $200 for a hotel. I paid $250 or $350 for entry. I had to fly out here. I took a loss. This is not a good business model here, right? It's competitive. There's a lot of good players out here, and even more so, like there are a lot of good players, but now it's so tough. Like there's so few spots that we're all fighting for. Now it's only 100 guys on the PGA Tour keep their card, and it's just getting so tough. But it's just a lot of good players out there, man. You just realize that we're all in it together. We're all working hard every day. We're all born with this certain skill set and talent. We're all the best in our little area. And when we just come together, it's a dogfight.
It's one of those areas that I really feel like if golf had what baseball has with multiple minor league systems, and granted, we kind of do with the mini tours, but there's no financial support with any of those. You're basically, we used to say that it was legalized gambling just amongst guys, because when you start putting in all this money, like only the guy who's winning is ultimately getting paid out for the most part. And I still feel like that's a lot of how it is today as well. But not having that financial support, we're like, in baseball, you have these organizations, you got these teams, and I know Live Golf is trying to go down that path a little bit, but it would be great to see, and we're kind of seeing it with the Grass League right now, where guys are able to get some contracts and stuff through teams, but it would be great to see there be systems and levels to where, like, you can make a salary and go out there and play. And granted, we're not talking about big salaries. I mean, some of these minor league baseball players, I know they make like 30 grand a year, you know? So it's not like we're talking about big time money, but at least they know that there is a paycheck coming in versus like in golf. I've seen so many guys living out of their car, like doing that entire thing. And it's brutal. Like, and it breaks a lot of people, especially at the lower levels of golf that people don't normally see.
It's a lot of long hours by yourself on the road. I mean, and now, you know, the cool thing is too, that I'm not sure how much, it's probably the same now, but a lot of us have traveled together with friends and buddies and had our little local support system, but we're all going through the same struggle together. Like, it's still it's a struggle. But, you know, going to those I wish there was something like that within the mini tour system. With mini tour golf, we're partially the problem. I'm just going to say this because, like we talked about before, we're delusional. And we see these tournaments, and there's first place guaranteed $100,000 or $50,000, and then it drops down to second, third place, getting like $5,000. And we all rush to sign up for that, thinking that we're going to be that one guy. And you know, those fields fill up, but I mean, shoot, only 10 people are going to make a profit on those tournaments. One guy's going to crush it. But I think that just needs to stop. Like, whoever's going to win that guaranteed 50,000 will be happy winning 25,000, 20,000, and then breaking it down so more money, just not make a killing, but you know, make enough money to keep going the next week. Because you're playing in tournaments and you got to put on 18 for, you know, you think you got a 6-footer. But you're not thinking this 6-footer is for birdie. This 6-footer is to pay bills. This 6-footer is to keep going next week, right? That's the grind. It's so tough, man, and it's just stressful. But I wish there was something to kind of make it easier for the guys on the mini tours.
You were just talking about it around the financial pressure. Talk to me about the mindset, right? Because you started alluding to it as you were talking about it. You're like, man, that 6-footer,
right?
Like, you ever have one of those moments to where there is a big putt that you have to make in order just to be able to move on to the next week in terms of finances or anything like that?
Yeah. So I tell this story. All right. So I told the story of my first win on the Florida Pro Golf Tour. That came after my first win on the APGA Tour in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. I had $0 in my account, basically. I think the entries were like $350 back then, and the way the tournaments worked were, and same on the Florida Pro Golf Tour, but the tournaments were on Saturday, Sunday. You can write a check and hand it to them on Saturday, and then they actually had money in the bank or something, so they wrote us checks back on Sunday after a round. So I didn't have any money. I was going through this. I was struggling with my game, but I was working. I was putting in the work, and I called my mom and said, "Look, I'm going to play in this tournament, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to need some money to come back home." I'll go in, I write this check on Saturday, and if I shot 74, that check was going to bounce so hard. That check was going to bounce like a Spalding ball or a top flight on concrete. And eventually, you know, and that pressure, I don't remember exactly how much. I just really I had a calm, like a weird sense of calmness that I just put in the work, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. But, you know, I ended up playing well, shot 64, 66, and won that tournament. And, you know, I kind of like to think the delusional part, right?
Yeah.
Greatness is on the brink of destruction. Like, everything's crumbling around me. I put in the work, but it all can come to an end here. And I just felt like this was an opportunity and moment that it was all going to come together. So That's an extreme example. I've probably done that like two or three times back in the day. But again, that just goes to show to the example of the pressure we feel not knowing. Like if I didn't play well that week, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Who knows where I'll be the next week and the rest of my life, right? And it sounds extreme, but it's the truth. So it's the same for these guys now in Q school. I was caddying for a buddy of mine at Q school, and I just looked around and I was like, gosh, I have no desire to be right there right now. Like that pressure that they feel is insane. The same goes for the guys playing in the PGA Tour right now. They're trying to secure their card. If they don't play well, who knows where they're going to be? Like what's going to be next for them? So it's so much uncertainty in the professional golf world where it's like, gosh, honestly I would like to be doing this next week, but I don't know if I'm going to be. It depends on if I make this birdie putt on the last hole or something like that. So it's tough. You just gotta roll with the punches, man. Stay positive.
You really do. I remember having 7 cents in my bank account, and luckily I had $2 in just $2 bills in my center console in my car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do? Like I can't. Like, I didn't even tell my parents that I didn't graduate college right away because I went to go play professional golf. So they're thinking that I'm still, crazy. So like, I didn't have any like financial support at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I got $2 and if I make the cut, I'll be able to like at least have some type of check. And sure enough, I ended up making the cut that week. Yeah. But right before that tournament, ended up my final meal before I got the check was a double cheeseburger at McDonald's. That was only $1 back then.
Right, those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Those days are gone. But it's good, you know. And I talked to a story with so my roommate for a few years is Lonto Griffin, who plays on the PGA Tour, and Lonto was on bouncing back and forth between Korn Ferry. And he missed like his first, once he got on Korn Ferry the second time or third time, he missed like his first 6 cuts. And he was just struggling. And he gets on, he's in Nashville, and he has like a par putt on the 36th hole to make the cut on the number, right? He makes the putt, and he's like, man, if I miss that putt, that's 7 straight weeks of golf. My confidence is shot even more. I don't know if I'm going to get back. I'm definitely not going to get back in the reshuffle or whatever. And who knows where I will be. He made that putt, shot 61-61, won that tour event, ended up getting confidence, got on the PGA Tour, and then won in Houston that next year. So it's like, every shot, like it's sometimes it's luck, right? You're making the right shot at the right moment. But you just never know what one shot can mean to you. Like it could change everything, and you can't think about that over each putt, or you would drive yourself insane. But that's the reality. Like we know that's the possibility
for sure. Now you've won over 20 professional events. Was there one that stands out to you?
It's a couple that really stands out. Like the 2 that we talked about, winning on the Florida, my first wins on Florida Pro Golf Tour and APGA Tour, and then one. You know, I talked about my grandfather, who's a really big influence in my life.
Yeah.
I won this tournament in Kentucky it's called the Gimme Golf Tour, or the Gimme Golf Open. And it was a really good event, man, out in Kentucky. And I won that event, not really having my best stuff. I was injured a little bit. My grandfather passed a couple months before that.
Oh, wow.
And
must have been an emotional one.
Exactly. So I really remember that more so because I remember the ride back from Kentucky to St. Louis, and it was the first time where I couldn't call my grandfather to say that I won and like hear his reaction. Like I could hear his reaction. I know how he's going to react to it because he's done it 20 something times before, or hundreds of times before with junior golf as well. And I always took it for granted whenever I was a kid or coming up, like, all right, it's just a win, I'll be all right or whatever. He's just so excited. I'm like, calm down. And then just to win that tournament and not be able to call him, that feeling really hit me, and made that tournament a little more memorable than the other ones. So
it's a great lesson for everybody too, that like, don't take things for granted because all of a sudden one day you're complaining, you're like, oh gosh, I got to talk to my mom. And then all of a sudden it's like, and then they're gone. And it's like, hey, you need to make sure that you're cherishing those moments. It's important.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done, and I get it. Like, but trust us, like that is great advice there. Because I've heard it myself with my grandfather, right? Because we would butt heads every now and then on the golf course, just father son type stuff. But you know, it's easier said than done. You hear it all the time, but you just don't think that that's going to happen to you. And when it happens, you kind of have that little regret and just like, dang, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
but it is cool that you could hear his voice, you could hear his reactions and everything.
To this day, like I still hear his voice, right? His impact has been such, he's had such impact on my life. A lot of my mannerisms come from him. A lot of people say that I look and act and talk just like him. To this day, I don't have conversations with him, but I hear him, right? Like I hear what his responses would be.
And those early days caddy conversations, like there must have been some one-liners out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's I don't know if anything's appropriate for this right now.
It's okay. That's what I try to tell people. I'm like, man, if you heard the conversations that happen on a golf course,
yeah,
a lot of things just can't be repeated. Like we were unfiltered for a long time on this podcast, and it's like, man, if we even touched upon some of the stuff that gets said on a golf course, it's like we would be canceled in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. That's funny. That's funny.
But let's get into, we do the pull hook moment on this show. And the pull hook was my big miss. I mean, you actually saw it when we played 9 holes together a lot. And with that, it was something that was a round ruiner, but I always had to make sure to bounce back. And it's actually one of the reasons that led me to this spot here today, talking with you, and just that journey and having that moment in golf, because otherwise maybe I'd be playing out there still. Who knows?
Right.
But it did not work out in that way. And that is completely fine, because obviously I'm here now. And one of the things about that is it is that pivotal moment in life to where something stems from that. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people have a lot of different moments throughout life or within the golf course. Like we were talking with Marty Sanchez, his was the pull hook at the US Amateur and ended up losing because of that. And then, you know, Terrence Daniels was right now, he's going through and experiencing that pull hook moment where his life is on a different trajectory. He's on the rise and everything's going so good for him. So I want to ask you, what is your pull hook moment?
Okay, so we'll bond here on this one. So I saw your pull hook. For me, my pull hook happened in front of 3 million people.
Oh wow!
So now we saw that Good Goods bringing back the Big Break.
Yeah,
I was on Big Break season 22.
Yep.
Episode 7. I was in Elimination Challenge. And you know, leading up to this too, let's bring it a little bit before that. I used to always hit a fade in college. I used to hit a slice. I couldn't draw the ball. I used to hate that. And when I turned professional, I wanted to work the ball both ways more. So I really worked on getting rid of that left or that fade bias swing.
Sure.
So I'm in the mirror just all for hours, just kind of laying it off, getting this bowled, my wrist bowled, and grinding it out. I started seeing the little draw, and I could hit both shots. And I just kept doing this, and I just started overdoing it.
Oh no!
So now, and it's pretty much documented that I am a drawer. I draw the ball now at 9s. I can't. It takes a pretty big slice swing for me to hit the ball just straight.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. You followed me on a couple.
Yeah. So I get out there and I'm struggling with this hook on Big Break, and just the last hole, the Paulie's Plantation. There's a dog leg left, which you think would fit perfect for my little draw, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a draw hole. Let's draw the ball. I don't need to think draw. Like I just need to hit a straight shot, and it's just going to draw. So I'm a little nervous, get handsy, trying to draw it.
Yep.
And pull hook. It's the ugliest shot on Big Break. It was like they had the camera right behind me, so you just saw it. You didn't need shot trace or anything. You just saw the ball just going low and left into the hazard, and that was the end of my run on the Big Break. I could believe it happened because I was really struggling with my swing during the show. But after that, man, like I would, Big Break was like the biggest golf show. Well, the biggest golf show at the time. So I built a pretty good following. People would come to the tournaments. watch me, I would get so nervous over shots when people watch me because I did have my 3 wood, and I was like, man, as soon as I pull the 3 wood out on the hole, say it like of course in Florida, and people were kind of behind me, and I'm just thinking, oh no, they're thinking right now, oh, that's the club where he's going to pull hook it. Let's see if he pull hooks it. And it would just bite me from now on. Like, I was so conscious about what people thought about me hooking the ball. You know, that experience though, and Big Break was such a fun pressure pack. We talk about pressure on each and every shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't get anything like that. That is the most pressure you will ever feel in your life. I'm excited to see how it comes back. Just excited to see how people handle that. But I will say this from my pull hook moment, that what I learned from it to hopefully help other people that do this show and also other experiences too. But I realized the people that do well on Big Break or did well on Big Break, you know, they always had the guy that was the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy or girl would always make it at least to the final four. Like, they always did really well on the show. And I realized, like, I didn't really show my personality on the show. I didn't really, you know, let people see, like we talked about, like, golfers have a hard time showing your personality. Because I was worried about being painted in a negative light. And the guys that don't worry about that and they're just themselves, whether they are, you know, buttholes or not, all right, said assholes. So assholes or not, like, they don't care what people think about them as much. They're just themselves, and they're just out there trying to play golf, right? And whatever anybody else thinks about them, they don't worry about it. And that's what I learned from that situation. Like, I was too caught up in, oh no, am I going to, like, what are they going to think if I hook this ball? Oh no, I'm going to hook this ball and embarrass myself. Like, I need to act this way so people won't say this about me. Instead of just being who I am and just going through my journey. And if people witness, and some people are going to like it, some people are not going to like it. But I learned that, and I'm not a bad guy, so I know that I don't have bad intentions towards anybody. So just be myself and just, you know, take it. And if somebody doesn't like you or somebody says something negative, whatever, right? So that was my pull hook moment and what I took from that.
That is awesome, because people need to understand that it doesn't matter what other people think about you. Like, it was one of the challenging things that I thought I was ready for in starting a podcast 3.5 years ago, or over 3.5 years ago now, with Pull Hook. And as we started the show, to see some of the negativity and some of the comments around some of the episodes, like we did an episode early on where Mikey Perez, rest in peace, he was a Big Break guy, and Pat Perez's brother, and we had the Fat Perez come on, right? And that episode, he was kind of jumping a little bit. Like, he was excited to have the interview with the Fat Perez and whatnot. Well, we got scrutinized because FP was on the rise. He was now part of Bob Does Sports and everything. And everybody on YouTube was very big fans of him. And a lot of those comments, like, from that episode were like super negative. I'm like, and some of them were like, oh man, like, it kind of hits you, but you think you're ready for it. And then it's a little bit of experience. Like, you kind of have to go through it in order to realize, oh, well, yeah, I give two shits now.
Right.
What somebody actually thinks about me. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I'm going to be me, whether or not you like it or not.
Yeah.
So that is kind of just great advice for anybody out there, golfer or non-golfer. Be yourself. And don't worry about what other people are going to think about you, because you can't control that.
No, you can't control it. And you know that, I think that's the thing that comes with age as well. Like, the older I've got, I've become like my grandfather, who just, as they got, you know, grandmother too, as they got older, they just don't care what anybody, they say whatever. Like, you can't say that.
Oh
like,
my God. That is so true.
Like, old people do not care. Older people, they do not care. They live their life. They've been through their trials. Can't nobody tell them.
Wow, I never
nothing.
put that in perspective.
Oh,
You're
man.
so right too, because it's always the grandparents that just say what's on their mind.
Right.
Do not care what anybody else thinks. And as I remember being a kid with my grandmother, and all of a sudden she would say something like at a restaurant, and about somebody, and they could clearly hear her.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh my God, you did not just say that.
Right.
So, I mean, I've never put two and two together there, but you're right, because they've been through the experiences and they really don't care. Like, they're going to talk their mind.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, well, they say, once an adult, twice a baby. Like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, kids, they don't care either. Right?
Yeah.
But they just don't know. They're not afraid. They're not worried about what anybody else thinks. And then we get to some point where, now, especially now, because we're exposed to social media and you have so many people that have access to you,
good
where
point.
they just and access to you from a safe place, right? They say stuff that they would
behind
not.
the keyboard.
Behind a blank picture or a picture of a dog and stuff, so they'll say whatever, and so it's hard, man. I really feel for like the kids coming up now and they have to deal with it. Even now, the internet invitational guys, like, they took a lot of heat and they're just trying to get people to calm down. And I was like, man, you know what? I kind of feel, I definitely feel for him, because Big Break was, like I said, we had 3 million people watching every week. That was the biggest show. And then Twitter was starting to come around. So one of our guys, Anthony, he was like our villain on the show. And I talked to him like after the show aired, and he was really struggling. He was like, dude, they're killing me on Twitter right now. Well, Twitter back then, X now. And he was just like, he had a really tough time handling that. So now it's even worse, because everybody's got it right.
Yeah.
So, but just don't worry about them, guys. Like, their opinions. Just be yourself.
That's the best advice right there. But let's take a moment now, right, to where we got to talk about the book, Tour Line, and Playing Through Pressure. Christian, you've lived a hell of a journey, because in this book, a lot of this, you could tell that it's real. Like, a lot, it's fiction, but you can tell that there's parts in there that are very much so you and the people that were around you and so forth. But now that you've taken all of that and put it into a story, why don't you finish by talking about your book, Tour Line, Play Through the Pressure. What made you decide that fiction was the best way to go with it? Was that to protect some names potentially? Like, to tell us a little bit about how you came up with this.
There's a disclaimer in there, like, just all the names are fiction. Just here to tell a story, not catch a case. It's, I tell people it's about 75-80% my life, right? And then it's parts of other people's lives that I've been around playing on the APGA tour, just different mini tours as well, to things that we've gone through. And it's more so the true aspect of it, is the trials that we face, the things that everybody faces, right? The setbacks, the obstacles you have to overcome, the doubts that you feel. Zeke, the main character here, has faced a lot of trials and tribulations that I face, I'm sure you face, I'm sure a lot of the readers will face and be able to relate to. But it's coming from a different perspective, a different background. And I think that's time for something like that in golf. We've talked about how there's so many more people getting into the game now, especially because of COVID, and that brings different stories.
Yeah.
And it's time for a different story in golf to be kind of shared in a different way. Like, I love golf movies. I watch all of them. But the same story is kind of getting told, where it's the old golf pro that falls out of love with the game of golf, rekindles it, and gets talked into playing in this championship or something, or he helps this kid play kind of a way to redeem his past in golf. And those are all fun and lovely, but it's time for different stories. And I think this story is going to relate. A lot of people are going to relate to it and realize that even though we're all different, our passion for the game, for the golf, the escape golf gives us, the opportunities that golf gives us, the experiences that we have within golf, that we all share. There's never been a story told like this in the game of golf, even from, the blend of golf and culture, the chapters in the story. They're all my favorite rap songs, but they fit the chapter titles perfectly. The language used in here is definitely a little more raw and authentic, but I wanted that to be there because, like I said, we're coming to the game the way that we are, not the way that the game wants us. So, and that's a lot of people are just coming into the game, and I want you all to come to the game the way that you are. And this book lets you know that that's okay.
That's a great quote.
Yeah. All right, I'll remember what I said.
Might have to trademark that one.
Yeah.
Because that is awesome. Come to the game as you are. Don't let the game change you. That is phenomenal stuff. And I mean, the theme of pressure kind of runs throughout the book. Is this something that you have felt directly? I mean, we talked about it quite a bit. I mean, some of the challenges and tribulations that come with playing on the mini tour circuits, and where is money going to come from? Like, so I feel like a lot of the pressure that we hear about in the book is a lot of stuff that you dealt with.
Yeah, for sure. And Zeke in the book, he's in a situation where he has to play golf to save his friend's life. Save his friend's life, and he's also in a situation where he ends up in a bad situation because he's trying to find a better way to say it. So Zeke is in. All right, I'm just give you a little disclaimer about it, or part of the book here. Zeke ends up having to get in bed with the local drug dealer. Not literally whatever, but he's dealing drugs on the road, on the PGA, on the mini tours. This is the best way that he can, with the hands that he was dealt, keep his dreams alive and his friend alive. And if he doesn't perform, right, like we talked about earlier, who knows what's going to happen next. So it sounds extreme, right, where if he doesn't play well, if he doesn't perform while he's trying to make money for this drug dealer on the tour and do all this here and support his dream, he doesn't really know like what's going to happen next. But that's what we feel on the PGA, on the mini tours. And it's a good story, like where you talk about too, where the money, getting the money for this stuff.
Yeah.
Zeke is in here, and I've had this conversation dozens of times, hundreds of times, where it's like, hey, do you got a sponsor? No, where do you get those from? And he's like, oh, well, my guys at my dad's country club got together and gave me $50,000, or it costs about $100,000 to sponsor a golfer. And Zeke, and much like myself, is like, dude, I can't even fix my mouth to ask anybody for that type of money. I could barely ask for $20, let alone $50,000 or $100,000. And he's just looking around where he's just like, man, I don't know where to get that type of money from. I was not put in that situation. And Zeke, he looks around and he ends up finding that to be in the local drug dealer and working out a way to provide for his dream or get money for his dream. But it comes with a certain cost. And that's a lot of things that we all have to weigh sometimes, the cost, the risk rewards of chasing our dreams. And it's interesting. It's definitely a story that it puts pressure in a unique way. But it's fantastic. I'm just telling you.
Who did you make this book for? Like, who's the ideal person that you would love to read this book?
Yeah, I think it's definitely for the newer golfers, not newer golfers, but just people that are just getting into the game, been in the game for a while, just love the game of golf, but just want to see a different story.
Yeah.
See something that could relate to them, that relate to their challenges that they've been to. This isn't a story. It's some laughs in there, but it isn't a funny story. It's not a Happy Gilmore 2. It's a deep story. It's an emotional story where you can learn from the doubts in his mind. You can learn how he handles different situations, the pressure situations, and every page just drips with emotion. You're gonna cry. I've had some of my beta readers. They've cried in different scenes. Right? They've obviously had their laughs, but they've learned things in the game of golf. Like, I think I really brought up issues in the game of golf that I just wanted to bring to the forefront and just make you just wonder about like why things are the way that they are, but also make you say, okay, I can see myself in Zeke, and I think everybody can. So I think everybody that enjoys the game of golf, and even outside of golf, if you're I think it's such a good read and story outside of the game of golf, that people that just enjoy stories and journeys of people just facing battles and dealing with pressure and overcoming obstacles, I think that's a story that's going to relate to most, and they'll like it.
I was about to say, it seems like it goes beyond golf.
Yeah, it's definitely beyond golf. There's definitely a lot of golf stuff in there, and I included different things like we talked about earlier with me reading the Bob Rotella books, and a lot of things that I've used mentally on the golf course, I've included that. You can learn some of those tips. I like to see certain parts of that as like a sports psychology book in certain chapters, right? Things that you can learn. But for the most part, outside of that, just a really, really good story about a kid just put in in tough situations, but he figures it out. Maybe.
maybe there's the teaser right there, folks. So make sure to go and get this Tour Line book. I mean, I will say this, in talking with you and having these conversations, I've already picked up about 3 things mentally that I'm like, oh wow, you know, those are key attributes that you should really have for playing the game of golf, and things that, you know, I'm going to take away from this conversation. Yeah. So if that's some of the stuff that's in this book,
in there,
along with that incredible storyline, by the way, where, I mean, folks, is Zeke going to save his friend? We don't know. He's going to have to play through that pressure, and we're going to see one way or another. And who knows what's going to end up happening until you read the book, because then you will know what has happened. But we want to thank Christian for his time here today on the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. And Christian, where can people go? When is the book? Is it out yet? When are they going to be able to get it, and where can they go to get it?
So it's officially available December 5th, 12/5 on Amazon. It'd be on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but, you know, go on Amazon, I prefer. And you can keep up with me on different updates on Instagram. I am C Heavens. And just go get it. I appreciate the support. I've gotten a lot of support from the pre-orders already. Golf Channel has given me a lot of support too. So I really think it's a story that's going to spread and start a movement in the game of golf.
I hope so, and I hope to see the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. It's going to happen.
We got to get that movie out there. But thanks again, man. Really appreciate you and being on the Pull Hook Golf Podcast.
No, I appreciate you having me on the platform, and us bonding over a pull hook experiences. Yeah. You've done a great job, so I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.